On this episode of Whether or Not, we have Nature in the News stories featuring winter forming and avalanche in Italy. Allie has the details on your weekend and extended forecast, and Brian has a feature on the most famous groundhog in Pennsylvania. All that and more coming up. Whether or Not starts right now. Hello and welcome to this episode of Whether or Not. I'm your host, Colby McCabe.
And I'm your forecaster, Allie DeBicki.
Well, Allie, we've been having some milder temperatures the past couple weeks in State College, but are we expecting any change anytime soon?
Yes, we have seen these temperatures about 10 degrees above what we would expect. 34 degrees is the average here for the past couple of days in State College, and I am tracking a change to more seasonable temperatures here for the weekend.
Oh man, so winter's coming back with a vengeance.
Yep, and I'll have more on that in my forecast coming up.
All right, well, that sounds great, and let's throw it now to Nature in the News. Major corporations such as Coca-Cola and Dow Chemical are among the 40 who have signed on to endorse the new Plastics Economy Plan during the World Economic Forum, or WEF, in Davos, Switzerland. This plan was created by the Ellen MacArthur Foundation in January 2016 in response to claims by the WEF that if urgent action isn't taken, the oceans of Earth will contain more plastic waste than fish by 2050. The plan aims to have 70% of plastic packaging reused and recycled globally, which is 5 times more than the current estimated percentage of recycled plastic packages. If successful, the new Plastics Economy Plan will begin to focus on redesigning plastic packaging within the next year.
Italy was hit by 4 earthquakes in 4 hours late last week, bringing fear and foreboding to the same mountainous region that was struck by deadly tremors last year. The 4 quakes caused buildings to shake and collapse, but what most would find unbelievable caused the most trouble on this day. The area was blanketed in heavy snow after an unusually severe winter weather event from the prior week. The tremors from the earthquakes triggered an avalanche that swallowed the hotel Rigopiano. This 4-star hotel sat at the foot of the Gran Sasso mountain, about 85 miles northeast of Rome, Wednesday evening. The avalanche has trapped and killed 14 occupants of the hotel.
Winter farming. The idea seems impossible, but in the past few years, the northern U.S. states have a greater ability to grow many of their crops year-round, despite the cold temperatures and wintry precipitation. According to CivilEats.com, a news source that promotes critical thinking of the American food system, production of vegetables in greenhouses structures increased over 60% between 2007 and 2012. Civil Eats cites higher demand for local produce year-round as the primary reason for this boom in greenhouse crop production. In addition, greenhouse management has become more affordable to local farmers due to advancements in technology and infrastructure. An example of this is solar wrap, a bubble wrap-like material that is placed around a greenhouse. This product is able to last 20 to 30 years, saving local farmers thousands of dollars over their lifetime. These developments in winter farming paint a bright picture for the future of American food production.
Winter weather can bring snow, sleet, freezing rain, and ice to your doorstep. Without proper snow cleanup, walkways can become dangerous to pedestrians around your neighborhood. Are you up to speed on winter salt preparation around your home? After you shovel your sidewalks and walkways, different salt compounds can keep these areas clear and can reduce the accumulation of future winter precipitation. Salt compounds can lower the freezing point of precipitation when it hits the ground and will interfere with its ability to form into a solid, icy surface. As using salt is a positive when trying to suppress snow and ice, be sure to follow the instructions on the salt packaging and use the compound sparingly. Allie DeBicki here with your forecast. We had seen some warmer temperatures here for State College, very unseasonable for the time of year, but we are tracking a shift as we head into the weekend, and this is due to this cold front that has pushed off the East Coast. That brought some wet weather earlier on this week to parts of the Northeast, especially here in State College. We saw a lot of wintry mixes here in our region, but For now, just some colder air that is left behind us. We'll start to see it become more cold as the weekend progresses. But for Friday, expect some possible flurries moving into the area. We can't rule them out with the right wind direction. We will be expecting some westerly flow here in State College, but for the remainder of the day, mostly cloudy conditions, and this is going to carry on into our Saturday. We'll see mostly cloudy, temperatures starting to drop off below the freezing point, and we do start to see some possibilities for some scattered snow showers. Once again, we do have this weak low settled on top of the Great Lakes, and with the right wind direction, we could see some snow flurries here in State College. Not much in accumulation, as we have seen upwards of 10 inches here for the winter season, but not going to be adding to that value for this Saturday. As we head into your Sunday as well, we're going to see some more chilly conditions. Overnight lows will be dropping below average. Average is 20 degrees. We'll be in the upper teens. Mostly cloudy conditions. We look at that low, it starts to become more mature with an occluded front there in purple. You start to see that the cold front actually catches up to the warmer temperatures here on the latter side of the front. So we will start to see some more cloudy conditions here in State College and cooler temperatures for the weekend. Friday, high, mostly cloudy conditions, 34 degrees. Can't rule out a stray flurry here in the valley. As we head into our overnight conditions, mainly overcast skies with cooler conditions, feeling significantly colder, 23 degrees there. As we go into your Saturday, start to see temperatures below freezing, 31 degrees. Can't rule out a chance of light snow, but mainly overcast skies. And for your Sunday, taking temperatures 1 degree lower, 30 degrees, with a chilly overnight temperature into the upper teens. Now on to a feature by Brian about Punxsutawney Phil.
Last week, one of the biggest names in weather was right inside those doors, paying a visit to the Penn State Department of Meteorology, and it might not be who you'd think. The guest of honor was none other than Punxsutawney Phil, who was accompanied by some of his handlers. Penn State meteorology students, faculty, friends, and even some prominent members of the community came by to see the world's most famous groundhog. The crowd was on the edge of their seats, eagerly waiting the arrival of the distinguished guest, Punxsutawney Phil. Finally, the moment came as members of the Punxsutawney Groundhog Club addressed the crowd and even answered some questions.
Here's your choice, guys. It's either question and answer with us or you go back to school. We're going to drink beer, okay? So what do you want to do? You want to do a question and answer? We're game.
You can leave it.
I got a question.
Okay, go ahead.
How many Punxsutawney Phils have there?
That's a good question. Everybody asks us that. We're looking at the only one. The only one.
Liar.
Mickey Mouse, Santa Claus, Easter Bunny. There's only ever been one.
Yeah.
I had a chance to ask one of my own. Has Phil given any early indication if he'll see a shadow?
There's
Not really. No, not really. He's not happy with the weather. Yeah, he says it's just too. He'd like to see a little more sunshine, so he can lay out next to the window and have a little sunshine come in and warm him up a little bit, do whatever.
The handlers were quite entertaining, and I asked President Bill Feely why he felt like it was a good idea to bring Phil to Penn State.
Well, we wanted to come here and just learn from you folks, and hopefully you can learn from us. You have the science of it, we have the common sense end of it, you know what I'm saying? And we're going to try to feed, and again, we have to put the two together to make things work.
The members of the Punxsutawney Groundhog Club were quite full of energy and excitement, but as for Phil, not so much.
He's sleeping in his natural habitat, but he seems a little bit tired from all the transportation.
Phil's going to eat, sleep, and get his picture taken during those periods, okay? And then his real big day is February 2nd, where he will come out and tell the world what the weather will be.
The newest member of the Punxsutawney Groundhog Club also made the trip out, and he gave me a look behind the curtain as to how he became a member.
You're voted in by your peers. The other inner circle members, vote on a likely candidate and show up at your house and say you're now an inner circle member.
I also chatted with a few students about what made seeing Phil so special.
I used to watch Punxsutawney on TV when I was growing up, and I'm from Massachusetts, so it was great just to finally see him in person. I was really excited.
Well, he's the most famous groundhog in Pennsylvania, and arguably the most famous groundhog in the world. So when he comes by the meteorology department, which of course I consider like my second home, you can't miss it.
Some prominent community members also came by to see the world's most famous groundhog. Penn State President Eric Barron was in the Weather Center and addressed the crowd.
Yeah. Sounds good. Not his jacket. Okay. No, well, you want to grab him out, or you want to get him out and show the students?
I really don't know. Okay. Also in attendance was AccuWeather legend Elliot Abrams and gave Phil some credit for his predictions.
But, I mean, most animals and plants in nature respond to cues from the environment, and I guess it's believed that this is one of those cues.
And this isn't his first encounter with Phil either.
I was inducted into their Hall of Fame for the Weather Museum.
Oh, wow.
And it was very enjoyable. It was in the VIP section. There was actually a thunderstorm that morning. And as I saw the sun come up, there's the groundhog being taken. I think the groundhog bit the handler at that point. But, you know, if I was a groundhog being awakened in February, what would you do if you're awakened at sunrise on February 2nd on a chilly morning?
He also had a special message for viewers like you.
Each time, each week, it's important to watch Whether or Not to get more information.
Well, the crowds have cleared out here at the Weather Center, and Phil has gone back home to Punxsutawney to get some well-deserved rest for his big day, February 2nd, Groundhog Day.
Finally feeling like winter again here in State College for this January. We're going to be seeing some cooler temperatures moving in as we take a look at the weekend recap. That low pressure system really ushering in colder air. Friday, 34 degrees as your high, dropping to the low 20s, 23 degrees. Chance of flurries, but mainly cloudy skies for the weekend. Saturday into Sunday, you really start to see that colder air usher in. 31 degrees below the freezing point. Low temperatures at 23 degrees, and your Sunday, the coldest of them all, 30 degrees, with temperatures into the upper teens as your low. We're going to see that that's below the average. 20 degrees is the average for the overnight low here in State College, so we're starting to feel very cold here in State College, and this is going to continue on as we take a look at our extended forecast. Average temperatures are around 34 degrees for your high. So Monday, we're going to dip below that, 29 degrees, but partly sunny skies here in State College. Tuesday into Wednesday, we're going to see some mainly cloudy skies, stratus clouds, blanketing our area. Right around average, we'll see temperatures into the low 30s. You can't rule out a stray flurry or two, depending on the wind direction. But Thursday into Friday, we'll start to see the sun come back out. Temperatures down towards freezing for both those days. We'll start to head into the upper 30s as we go towards the end of the weekend.
Well, thanks, Allie, for that forecast. It looks like we're returning to what you might typically see here in State College in January.
Yes, much colder temperatures are moving in over the weekend, and we'll stick around for the majority of the week, and we will see a dry period here as well with the high pressure settled in over the state, but you can't rule out a stray flurry due to lake effect snow and if our winds are moving from the northwest.
Well, speaking of snow, we asked you earlier in the Weather Whiz Quiz, State College gets on average 20 inches of snow from late October to late January. How much of that 20 inches has fallen this year? A, 50%, B, 75%, C, 100%, or D, 125%. If you guessed A, you are correct.
So far, State College has summed up over 10 inches of snow here this winter season. Most of that actually occurred this December.
I actually remember that. That was during finals week. It made a hard time even harder, especially getting around campus, slipping and falling. Well, that's it for this episode of Whether or Not. I'm your host, Colby McCabe.
And I'm your forecaster, Allie Debicki.
Have a great weekend.